Welcome back to BST, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another episode. It is back. The NFL is here for the first time in like 7 months or so. We have NFL action. Kind of had a little bit of a rough day today. Was stuck in the dealership for 3 hours getting an oil change. Bunch of other interesting things happened today, but guess what? We go home, we see the NBC broadcast on the TV, pizza's in the oven. I don't think it gets any better than that right there. So the night was saved with some football, and we saw a really good opener, really, between the Eagles and the Cowboys. The Eagles had their banner ceremony, obviously the defending Super Bowl champs, and you had that whole thing with Nick Sirianni saying his players weren't going to watch it. I thought that was kind of corny. It's like, guys, you just won the Super Bowl, celebrate it. I get it. You want to move on to the biggest and the greatest next thing, which is the Super Bowl this year, but let's celebrate this one because you never know. I mean, this could be the only one that you win. So I thought that was a little bit weird. But yeah, the Eagles fans celebrate that. But let's just get into the game. The Eagles get a big opening win, 24-20. And I'm going to be honest, I went into this game thinking this would be a Eagles domination. I think my score prediction was 34-17. I thought they would cover the 7.5 point spread that I saw on Sleeper in my Pick'em League. So this certainly didn't go exactly how I thought, but I think there's no other place to start than the opening sequence of the game. Dallas, I can't remember, I don't know who won the toss, but Dallas received the ball first, and they received the ball. Turpin returns it, whatever. An Eagles player is injured on the kickoff, and the Cowboys offense goes on the field, Eagles defense goes on the field, and they're still tending to the injured player, and all of a sudden kind of not a fight breaks out, but a little bit of a scuffle, and you see a flag is thrown, and then all of a sudden Jalen Carter's kicked out the game, and you're like, what in the hell just happened? And it's like, holy crap, he's out of the game. And then they show the replay, and it shows him spitting on Dak. And you're like, dude, this lunatic. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're 2 seconds into the opening game, and you're spitting on a guy for, it appears to be nothing. I think later on in the game, it showed that Dak kind of spit over the shoulder of his guard. But still, I don't think he was directing it at Jalen Carter, but Jalen Carter certainly thought he was. Just a crazy beginning to the game. I was shocked. So immediately the Eagles are down. Probably one of their. I mean, could you say he's their best player? Certainly one of their best players, a key player to winning the Super Bowl last year. So he's gone. And overall, I think that is kind of the reason it was a little bit closer here. And certainly Dallas ran the ball a lot better than I thought they would. And I think that had to do with Jalen Carter. But you also look at the Eagles. In the offseason, they lost Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. Those are 2 big losses. And now you're kind of down to Nolan Smith. That edge group is a little bit weak now. And then down the middle, if Jalen Carter's out, all you have is Jordan Davis, and he is certainly more of a run stuffer than a edge rusher, or not an edge rusher, or sorry, a pass rusher. So, although he has slimmed down a little bit, Jordan Davis, so he's certainly more capable than he was last year, but still, he's not Jalen Carter, and Jalen Carter's kind of like that superstar on the line at this point. So still really rough start for the Eagles. Kind of sucks the energy out of the crowd a little bit. Going from the banner raising to that immediately, and right off the bat, Dallas looked really good off the bat. They were just moving the ball. But also, like, Philly had a lot of penalties today. Let me see if I can find the penalties because they got penalized a lot. Yeah, 9 penalties for 110 yards, which is kind of the opposite of what has been in the past. Usually, the Cowboys are the team that get penalized a lot, and it ends up losing them games. But overall, for Philly, I mean, it didn't lose them the game, but definitely got to clean some of those things up. I mean, there were a few ticky tack calls. Certainly, the Nolan Smith taunting call was a little bit ticky tacky to me. I get it, like, don't flex in a guy's face like that, but I just think that's part of being a competitor. And I hate that call personally. I just think it's a stupid call. But there was that. But yeah, I thought Dallas ran the ball pretty well. Javonte Williams, 15 for 54 and 2 touchdowns. With Javonte, it's just been ever since that knee injury, I believe, he just really hasn't showed the same juice that he had in college in that first year or two in Denver. And I didn't really think he showed it too much today, but I think we saw kind of what the Cowboys want to do offensively. Certainly, they threw it more later in the game, but early on, they were really balanced. I think it was like 17-16 pass versus runs at one point. I remember the broadcast mentioning. So I think we kind of see that Dallas might want to run the ball. Miles Sanders had a big run. That's where the bulk of the rushing yards came from. But overall, as a team, 22 carries, 119 yards, 5.4 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. Not bad at all. Heavily favored by the big run by Miles Sanders, but it was a good run. But yeah, I think with Schottenheimer, we may see a version of Dallas where they want to run the ball more. And I think if Jalen Carter's in this game, like I said, they probably wouldn't have had much success. But I think that might be what we're seeing here. I didn't think Pickens had a very good day. He caught 3 passes for 30 yards. I thought there was a few deep balls that he probably should have come down with. I mean, there was one where he was interfered with, but I thought he could have gone the arm around and caught. So certainly his day was, him and Lamb were limited a little bit by penalties against them. Could have been catches, but also Lamb, 2 huge drops late in the game. Had like a 40-plus yard bomb, bounce right off his chest. It's just brutal when that happens. But 7 for 110. Lamb will be fine. He's got to clean those things up. It's just rust that happens in the first game of the season. And overall, I thought Dak played pretty well. The stats aren't great. 21 for 34, 188 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, no sacks. It's not great. You'd love to see like 250 plus yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. But especially early on, they committed to running in the red zone, and Javonte Williams punched in those 2. And, prior Dallas team, they probably throw those 2 to CeeDee Lamb or Ferguson or something like that. So I think this could be kind of the new look Cowboys, maybe running a little bit more, especially in the red zone. But I thought Dak just looked comfortable. He made a lot of plays with his legs. Obviously, with the hamstring injury, that was somewhat of a concern if he could or not. And I just thought he looked comfortable, but got to clean up a lot of the. It just felt kind of like at times like not a whole bunch of explosives, just like kind of dink and dunk down the field. But you could say the same thing for the Eagles, but it's what I kind of expected with the Eagles. We'll just go to them now. Jalen Hurts, 19 for 23, 152 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, was sacked once. I thought Jalen was amazing. Obviously, he had the rushing yards, 14 carries, 62 yards, 2 touchdowns. A lot of those on scrambles. Probably the first game in his career to not score a touchdown, or to score a rushing touchdown, but for it to not be, or multiple rushing touchdowns, and for them to not be tush-push touchdowns. He had 2 scrambling touchdowns in the red zone. They could not stop him. That was kind of the difference tonight, in my opinion, is just when they covered up everything else, Jalen was there to scramble. I mean, you look at their receivers, their leading receivers, Jahan Dotson, 3 for 59. A.J. Brown caught one pass at the very end of the game. Devontae Smith, 3 for 16, was not impactful. Just a bad night statistically offensively, but I thought both teams moved the ball pretty well, but they really both stalled out in the fourth quarter. Like if you go play by play here, yeah, we'll just go from halftime on. You have Eagles field goal, Dallas fumble, Eagles punt. Now it's fourth quarter. Dallas punt, Eagles punt, Dallas punt, Eagles punt, Dallas turnover on downs, and then the Eagles ran out the clock. So pretty sloppy in the second half, and so that kind of contributed to kind of some dull stats, most definitely. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with AJ Brown. I know the fantasy community is absolutely freaking out right now. It's like, dude, I drafted this guy in the second round, and he's gonna catch one ball for 8 yards, and he only have one target. Like, what are we doing? And when Dallas Goedert has 7 targets and catches all 7 for 44 yards, hang in there, owners of AJ Brown. It will be better. It's week 1. A very weird game with the delay and stuff like that. I think they'll be fine. But overall, the big story in this game was the Dallas run defense. Obviously, Jerry Jones comments, we need to stop the run. Here's the thing. Does it look great? 38 for 158, 3 touchdowns? No. I'm not. I think the run defense played well tonight. Anytime you hold Saquon Barkley to 60 yards on 18 carries and only 1 touchdown, 3.3 yards per carry, that's a good night from your run defense. As much as I wanted to come on here and be like, Jerry Jones, you idiot. Like, what are we doing? Like, yeah, you say this. Oh, yeah, we need to trade. We need to trade Micah Parsons because he can't stop the run. And then you get ran on like this. I think the big number of 158 obviously makes it look not great. But, I mean, Jalen Hurts running all over the yard definitely contributed to that. Just on scrambles. I mean, he killed them all night. But maybe a guy like Parsons chases him down, but still. I mean, it's just they needed consistently a spy on him, and especially early in the game, they just refused to put a spy on him. So I actually thought the Dallas run defense played good, but what did concern me was they really got no pressure on Hurts. They had 1 sack, but it felt like Hurts pretty much was just calm in the pocket. And obviously, I mean, they have a good offensive line, so that's not surprising, but still, I think there was definitely a Micah Parsons size hole on the D line. Like, they could have used a guy to get after Hurts and just make a game-changing play with a sack or something like that. And it just wasn't there. I thought for Philly, Will Shipley showed a lot of juice. That guy seems like a guy that if Barkley were to go down could carry the load a little bit. And it'll be interesting to see if he's used more extensively to try to keep Barkley a little bit more fresh for the playoffs. Because, I mean, if you stack 300 carries last season and continue that kind of a pace this season, like, he's going to get worn out. And it's going to be tough to keep up his production through the playoffs too. So I think they might be able to use him a little bit more. Another kind of key player to watch for Dallas is Kevontae Turpin. I thought they used him a lot more than I thought they would. He had 2 carries for 9 yards and 2 catches for 18 yards. He kind of seems like that gadget guy. Used him a lot more than I thought. So we'll see what his role looks like going forward, but he's a fun player. Great returner and could be fun on offense. See if they can get him a look and get him in space, stuff like that. But yeah, it was a good game. Came down to that 1 fumble by Dallas, Miles Sanders. Tough one. I mean, you drive all the way down. I can't remember exactly what the score was. I believe it What was the score? Let's see here. Yeah, so it was 24-20. 24-20 when that happens. Dallas fumbles inside. I think it was in the red zone. Dallas fumbles. Just a tough one. That one kind of felt like, man, Dallas really threw away an opportunity there. And then after the delay, it's like just the players were not in it, and Philly holds on. So, but honestly, a great way to start the season. And honestly, I'm impressed by Dallas. I thought, like I said earlier, I thought they were going to show up in this game, not play their best football. And I thought their offense would try to score points, but most of all, I just thought the Eagles would be a little bit better. But certainly losing your best player on defense is rough, and it's gonna. I think it allowed Dallas to run the ball a little bit more than they probably should have. But yeah, good game, good start for Brian Schottenheimer. You got to feel for the guy. Everybody's hating on him, and I think Dallas could be sneaky good this year. If they just clean up some things, figure out what they are on offense. I thought Dak looked pretty good, and it should be interesting to see what happens going forward. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this game, who you had winning. How's your fantasy team looking after this first game? I know people love to overreact to that. I'm talking to you, Jaden, and yeah, excited for tomorrow's matchup, Chargers Chiefs on YouTube. So I recommend to go check out Tom Grossi's stream. He should have it on his YouTube channel, I believe, or maybe the NFL YouTube channel. I'm not exactly sure, but go check out that. Go watch the game. It's free. Should be a good time. And we'll see what happens there. I'll be back to talk over that one tomorrow night. And then we move on to Sunday. And the Pack plays, so that's good. And we'll talk about the games then, and then on Monday we might bring back the Triple J's from our latest episode, and we'll talk some football, talk about the weekend in totality, college maybe. So yeah, should be a good time. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, all those things. Check out TikTok. Yeah, I will see you in the next one. Stay safe. Have a good night. Sleep good. And I'll see you tomorrow.